Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Not Your Average Josh back here for another movie review, and today I'm here to review the new M. Night Shyamalan extravaganza, Knock at the Cabin, directed and written by M. Night. Steve Desmond and Michael Sherman also have writing credits for this movie as well. Before I get into this movie review, I do want to say I appreciate anyone who is supporting this channel right now. If you're watching this, leave a like, leave a comment. I would love to hear your feedback on what you thought about this movie. Also, if this is your first time watching any of my videos, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate that very much. I'm still just starting this YouTube channel out, just doing what I love. I'm very passionate about movies and TV shows. So again, I appreciate all the support I do get. You can follow me on TikTok. You can add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this, but for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube, Not Your Average Josh. But let's get back into the movie review of Knock at the Cabin. While vacationing, a girl and her parents are taken hostage by armed strangers who demand that the family make a choice to avert the apocalypse. Now, going into this movie, if you know anything about M. Night, he always has interesting ideas, but doesn't always pan out with the overall general audience. For me personally, I've never been the biggest M. Night fan. I do enjoy the movie Signs, but going into this, I was very mixed. Didn't know how this was going to be. I think it was a good sign overall that this story was based on a book. You know, sometimes with M. Night, coming up with stories just completely original from the beginning, from M. Night's brain, can become convoluted or just really out there, some of his ideas and where the movies end up going. And again, it's just usually a very mixed reaction whenever one of his movies come out. So I was hoping that maybe his ideas wouldn't run too wild here. And I will say I did enjoy this movie a lot overall. And one thing I will say is I did enjoy the fact that this movie was kind of what it was in the end of the movie. Everyone is going to be going into this movie looking for a major twist. Of course, if you look at a movie like Sixth Sense, which I didn't even mention yet, which is probably my favorite M. Night movie. That movie obviously has a huge twist at the end of it, and really with a lot of his movies, he's just known for his twists. So I've already seen different reviews online of people having some criticisms towards this movie because of there not being a huge major twist at the end of this. The movie isn't necessarily telegraphed of what's going to happen, but there is really two main choices going into this movie that the main characters have to make. There's two real options where this movie is going to go down. Is everything that is being presented real? Or is it all fake and this is just crazy people trying to hurt or kidnap people that are different? And the different part of this is the fact that you have this little girl, Wynn, who is at this cabin with her two dads. One named Andrew, one named Eric. Jonathan Groff plays Eric, and Ben Aldridge plays Andrew. I thought they were both had really strong performances in this. I will get into more of just the overall performances as a whole in here in a few minutes in this review. I really did like that this movie, in the end, was a lot more simple than some of the other M. Night Shyamalan movies. There is still a lot of interesting ideas here at play. I am a sucker for a lot of these movies where, you know, if it's done right, one location movies can be very appealing to me. And the potential post-apocalyptic vibes here, I really do enjoy. My interest was piqued immediately as soon as I saw the trailers for this. The fact that you have people coming in saying that they have to sacrifice one of their family members or else the world is going to end. Just that concept as a whole is very intriguing. And with M. Night directing this, there's a lot of excitement to be had. But again, there's that trepidation where you're like, don't go too wild, M. Night. Let's keep this still somewhat contained to where it's just not so unbelievable that it's just too wild for me to handle or something. But I thought it was handled very well in this. The writing was very well done. Throughout the whole movie, I was never quite sure of how this was going to turn out. And that also goes in to the acting. And I guess I might as well get into the performances. As I mentioned, the two dads, Jonathan Groff as Eric and Ben Aldridge as Andrew. They were really good as the dads. Were really great in playing off of the performance of Wen, played by Kristen Sui, I believe that's how you say her name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. She was really great here. You know, anytime you have a child actor, there's always going to be, you know, that level where you don't want to criticize too hard, but luckily there is no criticism for me to have in this. She was really, really good in this movie, and just the way she plays off the two dads, I thought that it was just so well done. And both of the dads really had different perspectives in terms of the situation that was going on here. Near the beginning of this movie, when this group of people are breaking into their cabin, you have Eric, who ends up suffering a concussion. And so he's really kind of out of it through most of the movie. And it really allows him to, I feel like, slow down and really process things more. Whereas you have the character of Andrew, who is played by Ben Aldridge, who is more of that confronting, demanding, really showing a lot of anger and emotion throughout this movie. of like, you guys are crazy. I'm not listening to anything you guys have to say. You guys saying there's an apocalypse, on the horizon here, and that we have to sacrifice one of ourselves. Like, this is just crazy. There's no way I'm believing this. Where you had Eric, who was, you could tell the wheels were turning a little more. Instead of just acting on emotion, he was really thinking about this. Okay, could this be real? You just see him slowly start to come to terms with himself that he might believe these people at this point. That takes me to the people that break in. Dave Bautista, the leader at the center of this group, I guess you will say the leader. These people don't really actually know each other, but he plays that pseudo leader. And I will say, I really had some time to think on this. It's been about a week since I've seen this movie. And I will say this probably is Dave Bautista's best performance of his career. He just shows so many different layers in this movie. He's still the big physical presence that he is in this movie, but the character that he plays is such a nice contrast to his physical appearance, where he's playing this second grade teacher who believes he's got these visions that this family, this group has to sacrifice one person or else the world's going to end. But he plays it so non-aggressive. Like, he just comes across as like, I know this is tough on you guys too. And, he's playing the complete opposite of what you would expect, where they're like, you gotta do what we're going to do. The way he plays is so good because it really fits what the story and what's going on. When you figure out the details of what they're wanting from this family, this is the way that you would have to act. Because if you come off aggressive, they're not going to do it anyway. And he is just trying the whole time, just be peaceful and calm, explain the situation to them to where they can hopefully potentially for them think over this and maybe even come to terms with sacrificing someone. There's 3 other people that were with Dave Bautista's character Leonard. You have Abby Quinn as Adrian, who I thought did a really good job here. She's away just from another city completely entirely from Dave Bautista's character and also the other 2 characters. This really is just these 4 people that don't really know each other that well coming in, and they all had the same visions, and that really plays into the overall story, which I liked a lot. I thought she did a really good job of kind of building a relationship every now and then with the character Wen, the little girl, and again, coming across as just someone who is trying to stop the end of the world. These people, I thought, which was so good with the writing with this, the screenplay and just the overall dialogue within each scene, where you would feel bad for pretty much everyone involved here, even though you have Dave Bautista and this crew, kidnapping practically these people and trying to force them or make them come to the decision to do this sacrifice. But yet you constantly are feeling, especially for Dave Bautista's character, but really this whole crew of characters, even if they are crazy, you just feel bad for them. Like, I want them to be okay. They do not seem like bad people here. And that takes me to the next character, Nikki Amuka Bird. I believe that's how you say her name. She plays Sabrina, and she plays this nurse who is from California, who came all across the country, where they're at this cabin, and I believe it was in somewhere in the Northeast. I'm not sure exactly which state. You have her come all the way here because she's had the same visions of the world ending. These different, all 4 of them just having these different visions, and she plays again a great performance of, you believe that she believes this. Like, this doesn't seem like a trick. After about, I'd say 30 minutes to about 45 minutes into this movie, you truly believe that these people believe what they are saying. You still are just on the edge of, is it real or not? And I think that also the M. Night Shyamalan directing this benefits the fact where you're always like, is this real or not? Because with M. Night, you just never know what the hell is going to happen. And so I thought that really kept the anticipation building throughout this movie for me. One of the last characters that is involved with this kidnapping of sorts of this family, Rupert Grint, who played, of course, Ron Weasley in Harry Potter. It was great to see him in this. I honestly really haven't seen him in much of anything else besides the Harry Potter movies. So it was really great to see him play such a different character in this as well. Comes off as seemingly a bigot, but he's kind of really ambiguous as a character, very mixed. He seems like could be a bad guy, but also maybe not. And again, I really love that about all 4 of the characters that try and come in and break into their cabin. They all seem like they could be good. They could genuinely be just good people in life, and they seem like they are, but they're just doing this fucked up bad thing because of things that they believe. There's definitely some metaphors you can take from this movie in terms of that, but I thought it was all very subtle metaphors, so it wasn't anything where I felt like, M. Night was banging me over the head with this. And this movie really just, I think, hinges on the performances that I thought were really just well done across the board. And since the performances were so well done, it goes hand in hand with the writing. And once you get to the end of this movie, it does end in sort of a kind of, that's what happened. I am still overall a little mixed on how it ends, even though I did like it in a lot of ways. There is a part of me that felt, when the end was coming, with the reputation of M. Night Shyamalan, again, that might be just, expectation instead of just, a flaw of the movie. I did feel, I wanted to feel at the end of the movie like, oh my God, okay, that happened, where I really just felt like, oh, okay, that happened. That's cool. I mean, I see how it happened. And so there was a part of me that was kind of wanting a little more of a punch in the end of the story as to what happens. But I thought it was fairly emotional. There was a little bit more of a desire I wanted in terms of, like I said, that punch of the ending really being like, oh, wow, it really is all built to this, where again, it just kind of felt like, oh, okay, like it did feel overall in a way the journey was actually better than the destination. You could also look at it negatively though, like why would I want to go through this journey again if I didn't enjoy the destination? And again, that'll just be all on personal preference for this movie. But that is really my main overall thoughts. I really did enjoy this movie overall. My closest things to negatives would be, as I said, the ending not being as strong as I might have desired. But still, I thought still landing the plane really well, M. Night here, compared to some of his other movies. Also, I think that was why I was so actually happy. By the end of this movie, I was like, oh, M. Night actually landed the plane good. Not much for me to criticize with this movie as a whole. There were a few moments throughout the story, I guess, where I was, wondering, why don't they just tell them more information? These people that are here, Dave Bautista and company, why don't they just tell them more information so they will believe it? But again, I don't think that was necessarily a writing flaw. I think that was just the characters doing actions that were believable, that real people would do. But I would overall recommend this movie. If you haven't seen this movie yet, go out and check it out. I'm going to give Knock at the Cabin an 8.5 out of 10. Really good movie overall, honestly. Like I said, I just don't have many negatives with this movie. That's why it ranks so high. It's not necessarily a movie that I love, but I thought the execution was just very consistent throughout. The acting, execution, the direction, it just seemed like it all stayed on a steady level and never dipped. And so that's why I think it's just very consistently a very good movie. Leave a like, leave a comment. Did you agree with me? Did you really like this movie? Did you love it even more? Did you not like this movie? You hate the way it ended? It didn't interest you at all? Any support is very much appreciated. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate that very much as well. When you follow me on TikTok, you can add me on Snapchat, where I'll post content similar to this, but for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel, Not Your Average Josh. So again, I appreciate all the support I do get. We're looking for more videos very soon, and I will talk to you guys later.